You're most welcome to the channel. I am Seeds, the real African village life content creator. I also do community outreach whereby I give foodstuffs to the elderly. Uh, I construct shelter to the homeless. As of recent, I'm running a GoFundMe campaign. Uh, Whereby we need to construct a borehole for the community to get safe water for drinking. So guys, you can check in my description, you find that link. You donate everything you have, because every single coin can make a difference here in African villages. So guys, today I'm glad and I continue to welcome you to this mega live stream interview, as I am Sid's hosts JustSylVee-Podcast, a famous YouTuber based in Virginia, USA. Remember to subscribe in case you're new so that you become part of the family. Like, share this video as we be enjoying each and everything. So guys, today is 30th September 2025, and it is a Tuesday. Here it is 5 p.m. East African time. I hope it is 10 a.m. there in Virginia, USA. So guys, I continue to welcome you. You know, your presence is my great pleasure. So this is what you should expect in our today's interview. I was instructed, says JustSylVee-Podcast. So guys, JustSylVee-Podcast believes she was instructed. Number one, speak to women. You know, guys, we all don't know who instructed her, but hope she will tell us. Number two, she was instructed to step on toys. And she's like, it took her a while before she would understand the true meaning of this. Sometimes they won't like her view, but God advised her to speak truth. She was also instructed about self-evaluation. In my number 4, JustSylVee was also instructed to show a different viewpoint. Uh, she's like, she watches a lot of men podcaster, ones that don't bash women, but it helps her to form a different viewpoint. So, like, in short, JustSylVee-Podcast believes she was instructed about accountability for women. You guys, hope you understand what I'm talking about. So now, my friend JustSylVee, you're most welcome to the channel.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I thank you for inviting me. I'm nervous, so please forgive me if I come across nervous. Um, Again, I thank you for inviting me. Everybody, if y'all want to just like, share, and subscribe, we greatly appreciate it. We are networking and growing community, and like I'm just happy for it. Um, I've been on YouTube since about 2021, and I heard you say you hope that I would tell you who I was instructed by God. I believe that my instruction came straight from God. I had been being told for years and years and years that I was going to preach. And while this is not preaching in the form in which we are all used to, like in a pulpit and things like that, I believe that my instruction from God was to speak to women, not taking men out of the equation at all and saying that they do no wrong, but it's easy to pass the buck as a reason why we may do the things that we do, but it's much harder to look within and say, well, could I have done something different or anything to that effect? Um, that's my main goal, is for us to want to look inward, um, to see what it is we can do to become our best selves, and our best selves being as far as integrity, as far as character, as far as modesty. It has nothing to do with money per se, because you can have exorbitant amounts of money and still not be one that self reflects. So, yes, I am glad to be here and speak a little bit on my platform.
Okay, it's my pleasure to have you on board, my friend. Just Sleep Podcast. So, guys, you are tuning in to I Am Seeds. Please, guys, in case you are new, do subscribe. You enjoy the real African village life content. Give a like so that this live can reach to everybody. Feel free, chat with us. So, my friend, can you tell us a bit more about your channel and what inspired you to create content around accountability for women?
So I was inspired again. I state I would have never saw myself on social media at all. I've never been a social media buff. This is a learning experience. When I was in college back in 2007, I was in a program that directed me to Facebook, and I was just like, what is this and why? My daughters had done social media, but I was never on social media. And so as I began to just enjoy it, just for what it was, um, I believe that point came where I said that I was being told that I would be preaching. I believe that point came where it was time for me to step out. And when I first started, it was more so I was on Facebook only, and it was more so just like a Bible study. It actually has transformed a few times. When I first started, it was more like me giving a word of the day and defining the word of the day, and then it transferred into like a Bible study, and then I got the words of where I believe God wanted me to study from and stay in those places and speak to women. And I got step on your toes, and it took years before I can do that. I really can't even say I started trying to step on anybody's toes until I came to YouTube back in 2021. And that was when I started watching different content and having conversation with just people in my personal life. I may hear a word being preached out of the pulpit. Like, my content comes from all different types of places. And a lot of times I was getting the same things over and over again. And it just said to me in my spirit, this is something you need to speak on. This is something you need to speak on. So the inspiration is basically because I want to see any woman who is willing to become her on a path to becoming her best self. And the very only way that we can become our best self is if we reflect on ourselves, good, bad, and indifferent. I asked God years ago, before I really started this, to show me myself, good, bad, and indifferent. And it's not always a pretty picture. You heard one of the first things I did with you was apologize because I was a little tardy. I was a few minutes late. This interview was supposed to be at 10 o'clock. And I was told by three different people that if you're on time, that means you're early. If you actually come at the time that you're supposed to be there, like 10 o'clock, that means you're late. And to be late is totally unacceptable, which I was. But the accountability in it all was that I advised you that I knew that I was tardy, and I apologized, and I am working on not being tardy. So that I want to be more of an example. I'm not trying to be anybody's life coach or anything like that, but I'd like to live by example. And if someone wants to jump on the bandwagon, great. I may not be for everybody, but I know that there is a market of women out there that I am for.
So, guys, uh, me myself, I love somebody who talks about God. And that's why you see, uh, I spend most of my free time on your channel. I enjoy how you okay, enjoy your lessons. Let me call it the lesson because you're always teaching us some things very important. So I enjoy everything. Like
Thank
I
you.
like God. I like somebody who tells the truth about God. And that's where I even got the interest of having you on my screen today.
Thank you.
So, um, if we can talk about content focus, um, your channel description mentions speaking truth and showing different viewpoints. So, kindly, can you elaborate on how you approach these topics?
Yes. So when I'm watching different content, my goal is to watch things and to make every attempt to understand the other person's viewpoint. I try to stay away from content creators who bash men as women or content creators who bash women, but somebody who can give their viewpoint and understand that each party is responsible for itself. And once I do that, I can sit back and critically think, take that information in, even if it's a conversation, with someone in personal life. It doesn't particularly have to be watching a podcast or something like that. If someone has a different opinion from me, even if it's one that beats me in the chest, like something that I know at one point in time I would not have been trying to hear myself. I would not have believed it because my emotions maybe did not want me to take it in or receive it. I got a word from God for 3 years before I really started in this to not allow my buttons to be pushed. I hear a lot of women saying, they pushed my buttons. They pushed my buttons. And I understand that because prior to getting that message from God, I was one who said they pushed my buttons. Now, after I got that message, I encountered people along the way that said, well, you didn't do anything. Oh, so many times. Well, you didn't do anything. And I would say, God did not say, don't allow my buttons to be pushed only if I was right, but especially if I'm right. Your button shouldn't be pushed if you know that you're wrong in a situation. But if you're right, you feel like you have the right to fight back. God has had to tell me several times, Exodus 14:14, let me fight your battles. And it's not always easy when you're used to fighting them yourself and when you feel like people have done something to make you want to respond or react, because a lot of times when our buttons are pushed, it's a reaction. We haven't sat back and just tried to breathe and think of a more suitable way to get our point across without allowing our buttons to be pushed. So that is how I go about bringing my content. I always try to bring it back to, and I say that in some of my videos, a lot of them, I try to think about me first.
So, hope you guys are enjoying our interview of today. So, what you need to do is just to keep your eyes on the screen because you will blink and you lose, you miss. Okay. So, if we can be back to our normal business, let's talk about influence and inspiration. You mentioned watching male podcasters who help you form different viewpoints. So, how do you think their perspectives have influenced your content?
So when it's really kind of hard sometimes watching male podcasters because even some of the ones that I watch, it can come across as you're bashing women. Like when I first got into this, I was watching a podcaster who has now passed away. His name was Kevin Samuels. And when he passed away, there were people celebrating Black women, celebrating. And I will say that my podcast is not just for Black women. My instruction was women, not just Black women. But I watched as a lot of Black women celebrated Kevin Samuels's death because they felt like he was very harsh to Black women, or he did not like Black women. And I've always said, well, Black women came onto his podcast. You know, he didn't say come in. They actually called in, and they had their viewpoints. And I'm in a season of take the meat and leave the trash. So that's why I started off by saying I'm not saying that he was all the way right. I'll never say that a man is all the way right, but it's about seeing what we could be doing different and how we can be better. So even if a truth coming from a man is a harsh truth, in maturity, you have to learn how to take the truth, because the truth can come from any source, even if it's someone that you feel like does not like you, or does not respect you, or maybe even hates you. If it's the truth, it's the truth. But a lot of times when our emotions are involved, we fail to want to receive the truth. So, what I've learned from the male podcasters is to take the meat and leave the bones. And if there is a truth in it, I bring it back and attempt to formulate it in a way where it is receptive. But if someone's going to receive it, they're going to receive it. And if they're not, they're still not. I hear some of the male podcasters that I watch say women they'll love your content when you're talking about men, but then if you turn the tables on them, they're ready to stop watching and things like that. I see some of that going on all across the board on social media. There's a specific content creator that I watch on Instagram who does skits about infidelity. It's not always married couples, but it's couples for the most part. When he does those skits with men being unfaithful, the women are dogging him out. When he does those skits with women being unfaithful, the women are then in the chat rationalizing why a woman was okay to be unfaithful. And unfaithfulness is unfaithfulness.
So, guys, I continue to welcome you to the channel. You know, the far I have come from and where I am today, it's because of your love and support that you have really portrayed to me. I'm here because of you. So, guys, thank you so much for your love and support. My friend, just sleep. If we can talk about goals and impact, um, what do you hope your audience takes away from your content, and how do you measure the impact of your channel?
So, as far as what I hope that my audience takes away from my content, I hope that they take away the desire to be their best selves. I hope that something that I say at any given point makes them want to do introspect. I would like to say that every woman can grow. It is possible for any woman to be her best self. And a lot of times we are in situations, depression and, you know, trauma and things like that, and it feels almost impossible. And I know about all of that because I've been in all of those places. I've dealt with depression. I dealt with I won't even say I've dealt with childhood trauma. I still deal with childhood trauma, but the goal is to understand that those things are not meant to consume us. Those things are meant to propel us, actually. If we've survived it, there's a reason that we've survived these things, so that we can go on and make differences in other people's lives, so that we can live a life of purpose. And as far as how I measure the impact on my channel, um, I'll go back to another male podcast. One of the hardest ones that I watch is a podcast um, called Ringo TV. And I remember being on one of his lives and him stating that if you are a woman, he was actually talking about some of the women content creators and how he felt as though they were doing it not for the growth of women so much as to get attention from men. He said if you're a woman content creator and your subscribers or your followers are more men than they are women, you may want to question, because they should be more women, because you're out there reaching out to women. And so I check my subscribers and my followers on all platforms periodically to make sure that women are leading the way, because that is who I want to talk to. And I don't say that I don't ever say anything that's directed to a man, or that I don't want a man to be on or feel welcome in my podcast, but I want women and men to understand that this place is geared mainly toward women.
Okay, my friend, I continue to welcome you and thanking you so much for accepting me to host you. You know, not everybody can accept your invitation. So I will be grateful to you forever. I will continue thanking you because you have really done a great job to me.
Thank
You
you.
know, because when I talk of that, like I know what I'm talking about. Not everybody can accept you to host them.
Right.
So, can you kindly share with us a specific instance where you had to step on toes and speak truth in your content?
When I speak about us procreating, and this is a hard one, and I've had it on my content. I've had it making comments on someone else's content, and I've had this as far as a personal conversation in my personal life. When I speak about us procreating, because so often we when we procreate and we don't like the outcome of the father to our children, we then begin to bash that man, or we begin to hold the children hostage, or things like that. We rationalize us being the better one and them just not. So when I speak on that, I step on toes. I actually um because my platform is not totally a religious platform. So sometimes you'll hear me speak on celebrities. Sometimes I may speak on personal conversations, as I stated. So I spoke on Cardi B and her being pregnant and being a married woman and the baby not being her husband's. And someone came onto my video, I think it was on TikTok maybe, and began to go over everything that her husband did that was wrong. And I explained to her, I understand that, but that doesn't then make it right for her to go out there and be pregnant by someone else, and she's a married woman. And a lot of times women don't like to hear that. So I feel like that's a major area. Custody, excuse me, the father being able to see the child. That was one conversation on a comment about someone else that was a celebrity and their child's father. The person that I was speaking to went through everything. They just need to go to the court, and if they would have acted right in the relationship, and I try to explain that because the relationship went downhill does not mean that that person should be kept from their child. If a father is not a danger to his child, why do we keep the father from the child? The child has done nothing, not even asked to be born. And we think about these things a lot in the aftermath instead of beforehand. So I can say that custody, and visitation, that is an area that really, really steps on toes.
Okay. Um, can you kindly tell us how do you balance sharing your opinions with being respectful to your audience?
Okay, that is a great question. Because that is another instruction to be kind and to lighten up my content, which means I believe first and foremost, again, reflecting on myself first kind of lightens it. And when I bring my content, I try as much as possible to bring it with a light spirit, satirical, in a more satirical or comedic manner. Not that it's a joke. A lot of the things that I talk about are serious, but I try to bring it with that lightness so that people are more receptive. But if I also feel like if I make sure that my audience understands that I've been through a lot of the things that we're talking about and I've sat in some of these places, I believe that brings it across better. Not to mention that I have been the common denominator of being called harsh. So I knew I had to lighten it up because I know that there's been a time and a place where my delivery wasn't up to par the way that I believe God would have it to be. Me, God has said to me, take the truth no matter how it comes. So I may get harsh truths. I may get truths from places that I wouldn't otherwise hear it. But in this space, God has told me to make sure that my delivery is on point. So that when I say on point, it means in a respectful manner, in a light-hearted manner, but still tell the truth.
That's very good to hear from you. Okay. What advice would you give to women who might be struggling with accountability in their own lives?
So my advice to women who may be struggling with accountability would be, first, you have to be open to receiving yourself, good, bad, and indifferent. You have to be willing to take a look at every part of you. You have to know every part of you. You have to know when you're tardy. You have to know when you're harsh. You have to know the things that are not just the good places in you. If you only are interested in the good places in you and just want everybody else to concentrate on the good places in you and don't want to receive criticism ever, constructive criticism, then there's no way you can be open to receiving accountability. So you first have to be willing to look at yourself. So my advice is to take the deepest and the hardest look at yourself because it's going to benefit you in the long run.
So, our viewers, I know most of you have been asking me to show you around our home. So, I think it makes sense when we go together, we take a simple tour around the real African village.
Yes, because I love watching your content too.
Yeah. So, let's go.
It's my desire to get to a real African village before I leave this earth.
Okay.
Is it okay if I respond to this question in the chat? How do you deal with custody related issues when one partner refuses to, let alone see the child? just talk to them. If you have and this is just my opinion because I'm not the professionals. If you have a partner that is refusing to see the child, there's really nothing that, in my opinion, there's nothing you can do. In that case, I would get the courts involved. If the parent, if they're refusing to see the child, but they're already monetarily responsible for the child, all you can do then is pray. That is my best advice. All that you can do then is pray. But if they're not willing to see the child and they're not monetarily responsible for the child, I say go get the courts involved.
I love that. It's great when somebody asks, then you answer because they have the intention or the reason why they ask. So thank
Yes,
you so much for
you're
being
very welcome.
yeah. So
Yes.
here in African villages, you know, a village is a village. We have no uh people who guard us. So we use our dogs as you can see here.
Okay.
So they also play a big role in things related with security. So that's why we keep these dogs. We keep them for security purposes.
Okay.
And again, if I can take you back to my projects that I'm running, as I have been showing you in my videos, one of them is poultry. So right now I had opened for them. They are in free range system. As you can see, they are outside. They are moving. Some few minutes ago, there was a little rain. You see, some of them are shivering.
Wow, you have a lot of chickens. How many chickens do you have?
uh, I had kept about 40, but
Wow.
due to the fact that I have the shortage of space, I lost about 20,
Okay.
and now I have about 20. I lost about 20. I have about 20. Like if I can show you here their cage, it's very small. Some live
Bosco.
here, some live here on top, others here down. But most of them died because they couldn't fit in this small cage.
Mm.
And of course, I've not yet got enough funds to construct the big one. But I'm still praying to God if I can get somebody to support me, then I would construct here the big one. I continue to keep. I used to have like 1,000 birds in a big house. Uh, as I'm also collecting the eggs, I give to the elderly in our community here. You know, elderly people need to feed on a balanced diet. So, like when I have my eggs here, I can serve them for free
Wow.
because when you help somebody, then God also blesses you.
Yeah.
And then I also have here my piglets.
Oh, oh my goodness. Look, I haven't seen pigs in so long. We went to my family reunion. Was that my family reunion? I was going somewhere a couple of weeks ago, and we bypassed pigs, and I have not seen pigs like in a pig pen. I've seen them riding on the trucks going to wherever they take them to, but in a pig pen, I haven't seen. You know, I told you we my uncle had them when we were young, and we used to play with the pigs.
That's very interesting.
I mean, we used to get on their backs and ride them and everything.
So I have here my piglets. I'm also trying to raise them. I need to also have more and more and more and more. Like I become the good farmer.
That's my goal. I just have to be out of this apartment. I need my own home so that I
but
can become a good farmer.
but you know, for us people who live in the village, funds are our biggest problems always. So like when I have enough funds, then I can construct the big shelter for them. I also add in more. I need to keep the cows, the goats, like everything.
Right.
Yeah.
But God
So
is blessing you like you're growing. Some
I
of
add.
us don't have poultry or piglets. So that is awesome. I love it. May I ask how old you are? You look so very young.
You know, most of people have been asking me such questions. Like you are not the first one to ask this question, but you know, when you become focused, English is not our language, so it's hard to pronounce some of the words. But hope you are understanding what I'm trying to explain. Uh, when you love what you do and you know what you are doing, when you are doing the right thing in the right place with the right person, you can achieve your goal. And when you're working smart and when you are hardworking, so like uh hardworking minus laziness plus also praying to God, then you can achieve success. So
Okay.
that's how I do it.
Okay.
So can you kindly also take us around your home?
You said you want me to take you around my home?
Yes, because we wish to one day be there in America, but now that we have not got that chance already, we can
Oh my
just
goodness.
use our eyes and
My
we
home is not ready. My home is not ready.
please let's use our eyes with you around, you know.
Oh my gosh, my home is not ready. Let's see here. Uh oh. See? Let me see. That's my little trash can. That's my kitchen. I'm just learning how to take care of inside plants as well.
Wow, 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 wow. I'm just seeing new things in my eyes. I've never entered such a room.
That's my bathroom. I was putting my makeup on, so things are still left. That's why I said my home is not ready.
For us, we don't have such base rooms. We base from outside.
That
Can
is
I?
my laundry room. And yeah, we're not going in the bedroom. And it's not even terrible, but I have things on my bed from where I was getting ready.
Guys, let's compare these two types of base rooms. Now I want you to see this. You compare it with your. It's very interesting. The real African village bedroom.
Oh, look, when I saw you, I I I always say that a lot of times we complain in America for what we don't have. When I say my home was not ready, that was because it's not the cleanest that it needs to be. It's not dirty, but it's not the cleanest that it needs to be. But as far as blessed, I was before I moved in here, I had been homeless. I was on a homeless journey before I that was part of it though. I don't feel saddened by the fact that I was homeless. I worked the entire time that I was homeless. I actually left a place that I was paying rent on. I believe that was God as well. A lot of people don't understand that part. People have called me crazy for that part because I said that I believe God wanted me to test my security in Him before I became homeless. I believe that my instruction was to leave my job first for my health, and and I'm still working on my health, but then the next was for this platform and learning and growing this platform, um, because it's not an easy thing to do full time. But I have been homeless for years. But even in homelessness, I never had to go to the bathroom outside. So I even when I lived in a homeless shelter, I always tried to look at the blessing in it because I had a car. I was in a homeless shelter, but I had a car, but I used to walk to work. And as I was walking to work, I bypassed an underpass where people literally had to sleep outside. I saw beds made up outside underneath this underpass in the wintertime. So I've always tried to see the blessing in my situation. I've been here for the last 2 years. Prior to coming here, I was renting a room. I rented a room, just one room. Um, my landlord lived in the house and she had a roommate. They were both in the Navy and they wanted to rent out a room in their home. So I rented that for a year and a half. When I got the instruction to leave my job for this platform, I was still in her house. And I explained to her what I believe God was saying to me. Oh, and Notion, you're very welcome. I didn't get a chance because I was listening and watching the tour. You are very welcome. Seeds. We lost her. That's crazy though. If I've ever used the bathroom outside, it was by choice. Is she coming back in? Loading data. People ought to feel very, very blessed. I feel blessed for this space that I have. Still don't have a lot. Right now I'm still like I said, I'm not working. My apartment is based on your income. I am in the process of applying for disability right now. My little designs on my shelf I made. Like I try to use all of my handiwork in my place. But watching and shoot. I still like I understand the concept. I don't fully understand the concept of having to use the restroom outside. But I look at those pigs and that poultry and I am just in awe. I am in awe watching her build all these things with her hands. I am in awe. Looks like she's trying to come back in. Oh, there we go.
So my referee, sorry for interruption. My data had depleted, and now I have just added the intro I had. We can go on.
Okay, cool beans. Look, I was just trying to fill the time with just a little bit of talking while you were trying to get back in. Um, I've never I have used the bathroom outside before, never because I had to, only because there was probably not a space for me to go to the bathroom on the inside. Um, we should feel very, very blessed. I try with everything in me not to complain. Um, that may be almost impossible. I had a girlfriend that challenged me to not complaining, and it gets you aware of how you just may complain, because even to sit around during the day and say, "Oh my goodness, it's hot," that's a complaint. So I really, especially since I've been watching you, and doubly especially since you just showed me your restroom. Um, my hope from this is to complain even less than I do. I really try not to, but to complain even less than I do. But then I see your blessings as well. Like I said, everybody not walking around here with poultry and piglets. I want poultry and piglets. And I can't say that I want them to the detriment of not having an inside bathroom, but I would love to have some. I would love to have some. My desire is a farm. My daughters and I have talked about that. I think you frozen because I'm just sitting here looking at those cheekbones. Oh my gosh, I love all her facial structure. Yeah, she frozen.
I think also the network this side is also a problem. I'm not understanding.
So do y'all have like Wi-Fi? Are y'all able to connect to Wi-Fi, or you just solely have to use your data?
Definitely, I use a Wi-Fi, but
Okay.
it's yeah.
Okay.
So
So how far away from civilization, like not civilization, but as far as maybe something, because I only know what I see. I just watched a podcaster that was talking about African villages, not really talking about them, but someone had made a negative comment about an African village or about Africa as a whole, as if all that you saw was just the villages. And he was like, no, it's a lot of city places that are metropolitan in Africa. And like I said, I'm not going to say I wouldn't want to see the metropolitan places, but I love the people. So I always would like to be where the people are. That's why I would like to see the villages. But how far away from a metropolitan area are you?
uh kindly, I beg your pardon because like I've not understood the question.
So how far would you all be from a bigger city in Africa?
Or uh, Africa is composed of many countries. So now that me I'm from Uganda, so like I make I make our biggest city Kampala. So Kampala is the capital city of our country, Uganda. So if I can answer your question, how far is it from our home to that city? When you are traveling by bus, you travel from morning up to evening, then you reach there.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so like we are very deep in the village.
And even when I was in Carolina, because I'm from North Carolina, and we were in the country, for lack of a better word, but it still didn't take that long to it was not something that you just wanted to walk to get to the larger city. You didn't just want to walk there, but um on a and when I say a larger city, I'm thinking maybe like Raleigh from where we lived. Um Probably on a if a bus were to go to Raleigh, it might would take an hour, maybe 2 hours away from us. But even where I was from in North Carolina, if we walked to the store, if I did it in this day and time, there used to be a closer store. It was like a really, really country store, but we loved it. And then it closed down. So to walk to the store from where I grew up, where my uncle had the pigs, probably would be about an hour walk, maybe, to just to get to the nearest store. So we did stay away from quote unquote civilization, but it still wasn't as far as you are. Have you ever been to the United States?
I beg your pardon?
Have you ever been to the United States?
No. I've never, like, if I can explain to you very well, I've never traveled. But God willing, traveling goes with the funds you have in the pocket. So God willing, I will also start traveling.
I well, I just traveled without funds in my pocket. I just look, I because I made a video about that as well. I spoke to God over 9 years ago and said I wanted to go to Turks and Caicos. That's a country. I think it's near the Bahamas. And in June, I got invited on a cruise. I didn't have any money. Now I did take a cruise in August that I before I stopped working, I was able to pay for that cruise in August. But the one in June, I got invited on. It was actually longer than the one I took in August. It was 6 days. We went to Turks and Caicos and Bimini, Bahamas. I had maybe, I don't even think I had $100 in my pocket. It was all expenses paid. Someone had backed out, and so I was able to travel. And I totally say that that was God because I had made my request known about Turks and Caicos. When I found out that we were going to Turks and Caicos, I was over the moon excited because I'm like, okay, God, I only said that to you 9 years ago. I would like to go to. I saw it on a show. And I was like, oh, I want to go there. Um, Generally, yes, travel comes with the funds in your pocket, but I do also believe in a God that sends you on all expense paid trips because my cousin didn't have to invite me on that cruise. She could have found any old other person to invite. It was paid for. I didn't have to pay for my plane trip. I didn't have to pay for my cruise. Like I said, she gave me money to spend. Like when I say I had about maybe $30 of my own, but she wound up giving me money to spend and everything. And that was this past June. People, the way that I traveled from June to August, people thought I had money. I don't have a lot of money. I don't have a lot of money, and I'm provided for. I'm provided for. Well, we know I'm definitely not lacking food. I'm working on getting this weight back off. I'd lost this weight. I'd lost almost 100 pounds back in 2015. And in this last year, I've put it back on. Um, I kept it off since 2015 and just put it back on in this last year. So I'm working on that. And I got hit by a car, so it limits um, my capability to walk for long amounts of time and things like that because I have a torn meniscus and I just had to have surgery on my fractured thumb. Um, but the goal is to travel more. I do want to travel more. I don't know how we're gonna come across it, but I believe that we both gonna travel. I believe that for the both of us, we're going to travel.
I understand, my friend. So, like, if I can give more explain how we live life here in African villages, I was showing you here the bathroom. It is not loft. It has no door. Like, if it rains, that means that you're going to take your shower when the rain is beating you.
Wow.
If it is night, that means that you're going to fear there. You will not bathe. So, like, you need to bathe very early when it is still during the day, and when there is sunshine. Then another thing, if I can show you here, our African bush toilet. This is how it looks like. You can see
Wow.
for us we don't have the other things I've seen in your room, which,
Right.
which contain water for switching on and off. No, for us we don't have those things. So here is the cover, whereby you do like this and you cover on top, because we need to prevent flies from moving around, and they affect us with diseases, so we cover like
Right.
here in African villages. We don't normally use the toilet papers or the tissues because they are expensive. So for us, we use these papers, you see.
Wow.
When like you have a child in a home and her book gets over, then that's what you put inside and you use. Ours is very interesting. You see, there are no doors. When somebody's missing,
Yes.
make sure they don't see you. So this is how it looks like. And most of the times, you see, for us, we are lucky it is roofed with iron sheets. There are some people with these latrines that are roofed with grasses. You know, in those grasses, there can hide a snake, and when you enter, it bites you.
Oh.
Or, or somebody can throw there a matchbox,
Oh my goodness.
and you find it surrounded by fire. But for us, I thank God it is roofed with iron sheets. Like, if we can move together, I show you the one which is roofed with the the grasses. It's very interesting. You know, I've told you we are from receiving a little bit of rainfall, so I fear to move around because there is too much coldness. But I'm going to zoom it so you can be able to see it. You see this one.
Yes.
Hope you're able to see it. Eh, now you can see it.
Now, what is that?
The African bush toilet, which is roofed with the grasses.
Oh, okay.
So here in the village, things are very interesting.
Very interesting.
But once you work hard, then you can change the story.
Yeah.
So for here, we also grow bananas. They also do the same.
Um, I think that bananas they're making it where you can grow anything anywhere, but I tend to not want to try to grow things that are supposed to be grown in different states. I have not seen anybody I know grow bananas because bananas are generally grown down in Florida. I did see banana trees when we went to Florida for the cruise the second time. I saw banana trees in Florida, but I've never seen anyone growing any in Virginia.
And then it's your turn today to see them here on the screen. You see?
Oh, yes.
So these are weeds. I normally take them and I give them to my chicks.
Okay.
Yeah. So my friend, you know, to me when I'm working, it is time versus data and versus the work done. So I continue to thank each and everybody for being part of this video. And then I can give you space, my friend, in your remarks, in your conclusion, final words. You tell to my people and you include why should they check in and subscribe to your channel. You tell us which other platforms can we find you.
Okay.
Uh,
So again, y'all, I am just Sylvie, and y'all can find me on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, all just Sylvie. Um, I think you all should subscribe to my channel because I just think that I have a heart for the people, for women, and I want us to be the best that we can be. Like I said, I don't have a lot as far as finances are concerned, but I do have a heart for seeing people grow to be their best selves. I really believe that if we grow a lot of times if we grow in our finances without growing ourselves as far as our character, there's still no substance there. And we want substance. And my page is a place where you can find substance. You can find a balanced viewpoint. And as I stated, I'm not the professionals, but I do come with the truth.
okay, guys, thank you so much for really showing us your love and support. Uh, what you need to do, stay connected as I bring you more. And don't forget to subscribe on both of our channels. You comment, you like, you share, like you do everything and you enjoy the content we do. So I hope to see you in my next video because I have the video upcoming about how I do the mat, the traditional mat, using the local materials here in African villages. So guys, hope to see you there. Don't miss on. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye bye.
Thank you for your time.
You are very welcome.
Okay, okay.